Okay. How do I start this? What up, everyone? This is Mwaaba Mugala, also known as EpicCredos, and I'm here on the Ethos podcast.
What's up?
What's up?
Oh no.
What's up?
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. COVID things, but we're good.
Yeah. Hanging in there?
Yeah. Hanging in there. How's everyone there?
Yeah, we good.
Though
I'm good.
I was
Hanging in
wondering
there.
why it's so weirdish. Me and Tumelo are the evidence of that weirdishness. There's a shine. We're sweating.
What?
Is it hot where you
You're
are?
sweating.
It's weird. My
Wait, for
feet
me?
are cold, but my face is all.
I'm not wiping my face. I'm doing a new dance.
That's a new 2020 dab.
I actually I had to wash my face because I just woke up. So yeah.
But you look fresh.
Ah.
What did you call your hairstyle again? That beard thing.
Don't worry about it, man. You don't know about it, child.
Can you say the name? Maybe Mwaaba knows it.
I
Hey, for me,
did
beard's a beard.
Van Dyke.
All these-
So you can just look it up, man. Like right now, you have your
Van Dyke.
All right, Mwaaba. So just tell us a bit about yourself, like what you do. We'll start there.
I am a software developer slash music producer, but I'm focused right now on game development. That's like my area of interest. So I do a lot of game development, game design, prototyping, trying to get into the industry, force my way in. So yeah, that's me right now.
Okay.
awesome.
Like what platforms have you worked on? Like what projects?
PC, I do a lot of what do you call that? Where someone sends you something and you have to like clean the project. So we usually work in Unity because I'm trying to be an affiliate. I was like interning, so in a way. So what
interning with
happens is
Unity.
like when there's a new kind of
Oh, okay.
trying to intern. Yeah, so more like an affiliate. So what happens is that if they have like a new piece of software they're working on, they kind of send it to me and I have to test it out to give them feedback on how it works and if it's good enough and give my opinions on it. And then it goes out there in the world.
So wait, you've been reviewing their software, testing and reviewing it.
Testing and reviewing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like when you say software, you're talking about games themselves or other types of softwares?
It's related to game software because they're like plugins that they're kind of working on now, especially on mobile platforms. So they send that stuff, and I have to like make sure, give my input on how it works because they're trying to open up a new market in Africa. So they see how we respond to the new advancements.
So when you say like clean up code or basically cleaning it up and making it readable and so on, like what sections of code like are the core basis, core functionality?
Not code. Not really code. Prototyping is like level design. Because I actually consider myself not a programmer. Like programming is like that's important of what I do. So mostly it's like if someone designs a level and they send it over to me, then I have to like see if it's playable by prototyping. And if something isn't working, I'm like, okay, you can change this, you can do this and that. Send it back to them, and they have to work on it.
Oh yeah, and those are like two major fields, and like as far as like game development is concerned, there's like the game development aspect, is like the game design. aspect of things. So it's like,
Yeah.
are you lean more towards the design, design side of it, right? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So if
More design,
like I'm just curious a bit, if it's levels, let's say a 3D game developer sends it to you, or 2D development, 2D game developer, is it how can I say, does it pose any challenges or differences, or is it just something you just already know how to walk through regardless of what type?
Yeah, there's several challenges because especially indie developers, like they have these ideas that you've never seen before, like they're out of this box. You find someone sends you a level, time travel. No, just kidding. Someone sends you a level where of a new concept they're trying to do, where maybe if you shoot a bullet, the string changes to another, maybe changes black, maybe changes. So if you're working with things you've never worked before, there's a lot of Google, and people never really seen that stuff before. So it's very different, especially in the indie field. But if it's like 3D generic games, like FPS games, those type, yeah, those are the same. Those are akin. But the other type,
so far they've only sent you things that you are kind of versed in, like well versed in, or you have faced irregular games.
Yeah, I have those, most of those, and it's very awkward because you don't know how. Cause I'm like, also I'm kind of a newcomer here, so you're like, how do I tell him that I don't know how to do this? Yeah, so there's several of those.
I'm actually guessing. If someone were to hear that you do prototyping, some of them may mistaken it for game testing. How would you like describe prototyping strictly in terms of like a description and so on?
Well, prototyping is basically seeing if the game concept works.
Unlimited.
Because like when when you're prototyping, right, you kind of create an environment with this thing they call gray box. So essentially, it's just a play test of everything. It's not the official game. And then game testing is when everything's done, with your models, your textures, and everything. You're about to ship it, and that's when you get game testers to see if this game kind of works the way you want it to work, if it works on the platforms you want it to work, and all that stuff. But prototyping is like the first stage after layering out your game design.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Would you say like I've lost my question. I was distracted by a message.
Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot could change during like prototyping because it's like it's a test-driven development kind of thing. So you're pretty much just using example concepts and then maybe thinking of implementing the official thing later on as development progresses. So in that regard.
What?
Sorry, Moses.
What? I'm actually about to skip him. Yeah, Moses. Because I remember my question just.
Oh yeah, go ahead, man. Go.
Like, what requirements do you have to have in order to get into prototyping?
Just being able to know what works and what doesn't. I don't know. But yeah, it's mostly about being able to. That's actually a hard question.
Yeah. Okay. How did you get into prototyping? Like, how were you invited to do it? Did you apply for it and so on? What requirements did they ask you for?
Well, for me, it was more because I was like at a lot of networking events, a lot of game networking events. So when people asked me what I did, and I told them,
I'm so sorry. Just repeat. I'm so sorry. Repeat. I think the mic got.
Oh, okay. I was saying, for me, it's mostly because of reasons for events, game related. So I find that you meet people who actually what they're doing from Zambia, kind of make games and trying to get into the industry, get their contacts. Then when they have the games that they want to bring out, there's this group called the African Games Developers. So they kind of send uh, their the games they're working on. So I was always like actively commenting, helping them out, saying, oh, so they kind of, oh, okay, this guy gives feedback. So they started sending me prototypes and telling me what I think about them. So that it just kind of became a thing, you know. So I didn't really apply for anything. It was just like, it just happened.
So it was mostly kind of like, oh, Tumero is lost. It was more like they
No.
saw that you were capable of doing it and they picked you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I used to stuff I was working on as well.
Sorry?
So it just became like, I used to send them stuff that I was also working on. So it just became like one of those, relationships.
But when it comes to someone who's like on the outside, because you're like the reference point, what would you tell them to do in order to like fit into the space that you're in? Like, what do they need to learn? What do they need to touch on?
Well, I think it depends on what you want, but for me specifically, I think if you're not like, if you don't attend these events, these gaming events, then it's best you kind of try to build like a portfolio, maybe a website online where you just put stuff that you're working on, and then invite people to kind of visit it and have like downloadable content, like free downloadable content that you can just put like, oh, free prototypes of this and this. If you're working on this kind of game, you can use this for your project, and people will be able to download that for free, and then they'll tell other people that, oh, this guy does prototypes, this guy. Then you kind of LinkedIn, put it on LinkedIn, because that's where a lot of these connections happen from, as I have observed. So yeah, I think that's the best way I would advise.
So
if there are any gaming events,
no, go on, sorry.
Yeah. Now, saying if there are any gaming events, then you can attend, get a business card, and just show them your website. Put your website, your number there. Show them this is the website you can get free prototypes for. Like we recently had the Global Game Jam in January. Those are the kind of events you should be aiming to go to.
Okay.
How many such events are organized in the country?
In the country, it's very rare, because I know there's the Global Game Jam, and there's the the Global Game Jam. Because in Zambia, there's like it's something that's coming up. So the only events that you can go to and find such is like the Global Game Jam. There's LSCon, Nerd Otaku hosts a lot of these hackathons sometimes, and Codecast as well.
Oh yeah, we just had Mukuma on.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The question. He's quite an interesting dude. So the question I had, you mentioned they're trying to get in the African market, meaning Unity, right?
Yeah.
Now, what exactly are they looking for? What demographic are they? Okay, the demographic is game developers and everything, but are they trying to see if the market is viable? Are they trying to see if, let's say, an average guy who's just playing the game, how many people are going to jump on the video game? Let's say you create. Are they looking at those parameters, or it's just the stage is just on the developers themselves, and how many developers are in the country or are in Africa? That's when they were like, oh, okay, this is viable.
Yeah.
or what are they looking at?
It's a bit of both, but for now they're looking for mostly developers because they're trying to expand on the number of people who use their software.
Mm.
So they're looking for developers, especially those with different ideas that they would like to implement. So they're kind of supporting people who are developing games that are more African, Afrocentric. I don't know if that's the
Yeah,
real word,
Afrocentric.
but yeah, yeah. Because as I was told, a lot of people are kind of tired of there's the same games that are being developed
Yeah, yeah.
the Western side and all that stuff. So they're kind of looking for either the indie market or the African market because the African developers have some interesting ideas. And I was telling them about the game we're working on. They were like, "Oh, okay, this is awesome. Like we've never seen a story based on that's trying to tell like African history."
Yeah.
So those are the developers who they're trying to support. So that's why I think that's why not I think that's why they were helping me out with the software because they really want to see more emerging, to inspire more emerging African developers, see them do their thing, make AAA games and all that.
Yeah, that's actually commendable. The how what do you think is like the current state of, I would say, for lack of a better term, I would say affairs in terms of how many game developers are in the country and the response. Software developers gravitating towards developing video games, or
Yeah.
we all just want the white collar job, the the job that will give
Yeah.
us, yeah, like
Hula.
Money.
just make us sit on a desk and everything, not actually create
Yeah.
games or actually tell a story through your skills and everything.
Yeah.
How would you make what's the response per se in this country? Do you think it's overwhelming, or it's like
I think a lot of people are still like afraid of risking it right now because they haven't really. There's I don't know if maybe if you know any success story, but a lot of people don't really know any success story, so they're kind of like, we don't really
oh
want to
yeah,
try this. But yeah, so I feel like it only takes one person to kind of do something big that is going to inspire other people. I mean, like Kenya, South Africa, big examples.
hmm,
Kenya is now active. They have a game development center. They employ developers and they're taking this really seriously because they see how big the industry is capable. Same thing as South Africa. They have schools now. So
hmm.
for us, it's it's I think it's going to take a while, but we're on the right path because we have a number of people who want to join, the industry, but they don't really know how to. Uh,
Uh,
I think we're all kind of isolated.
yeah, that's the
Everyone kind of
thing,
wants to be like
because
alone and stuff.
yeah, that's the thing, because if I think the biggest thing that can like really make this industry, this country, is about, like you said, networking events. You need to put yourself out
Yeah,
there to make sure that you meet other people that are doing the same job as well, so that I
yeah,
don't like situations where a foreigner, or let me use somebody from overseas, comes here and starts
hmm
telling you about. You might even find that you already know that thing, but you haven't just tapped
yeah,
into that. You haven't just come together and put your ideas together. Because so far,
true.
game developers that I know is Muka, you, Mukuma, and Tumelo. Like we need Instagram
We need
pages
more.
for,
Yeah,
yeah, game developing
true.
teams and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
we were so, I don't know if it's it's the, I don't know if it's the mindset or it's the way developers are, or it's just maybe indifference to maybe, am I going to make money out of doing this?
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people are carefree to risk it, let's say, and say,
Yeah.
I want to be one of the pioneers for this industry, this country.
I think
So it's
Mwaaba actually hits one very big point connected to what you're saying.
mhm,
I think
yeah.
success stories, they aren't enough, because just
Mhm.
now I was like
Yeah.
Googling Zambian games, and one of the early results, like Tech Trends is the website, they've got at number one, they've got Star Scooter,
Star Scooter.
SCND, Save Our
Mm.
Souls, and various Christian games by Trevor Sincala. So you'd imagine like there are four that are listed on this. I'm sure you thought I
Seriously.
would
Yeah.
keep on going, but these are the four that you can actually play now that are recognized. And you'd wonder, like you said, why should I start making a game if I don't even know the
Mhm.
monetary gain in it? Like some of the developers ask themselves such
Exactly.
questions. But I also think, connected to another thing that Mwaaba said, in other countries, they're already building platforms to support developers, in infrastructure and stuff like that. In Botswana, they've got this
Mhm.
very fancy building just for tech heads. Whatever you do in
Yeah.
IT
Yeah.
can be hosted in that place. That can encourage someone to believe that there is possible income at the end of it. Because if you try to pretend
True.
that you can be a hobbyist all your life, this is Africa.
Yeah, you cannot
Yeah.
do
True.
that. And
True.
this is where it leads me to ask the question, why, Mother, why did you like just jump in, and why game development?
Yo. uh, it's one of those things where I've always loved games. Like I used to play games a lot. So I just decided, I think it was like 2011, like I wanted to learn how to make games, like, and I wasn't really going to let anything stop me. Like, that's just how I am. I'm one of those people. So when I started, I, like there was no motivation. Like there was
Mhm.
no sign of life at the end of the tunnel. But I just kept going, and I don't even know, man. Like seriously, I I just do it because I love it, and for me that's the main priority is just to get more African games out there, to get more people to recognize that we can also do big things here. Uh, because if this window closes, this especially this period, if it closes, I think
Mhm.
the next 5 years, and we haven't made an advancement, it's gonna be late for us, like to catch
Because
up. I
currently
don't think it's
it's
gonna
it's
happen.
it's clustered. Like the moment you just move your scope out of Zambia in terms of game
Yeah.
development, there are too many games, and some platforms like Steam are
Mm-hmm.
becoming difficult to
Yeah,
really make any kind of
saturated. Yeah,
revenue from such platforms on their own. So
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
if we
So,
keep on waiting.
Mocha, well, what you're saying is that the income streams that come from these platforms where you
it's,
you,
it's
you upload your games, you
yeah, it's like saying initially it was a niche thing to develop games, but now you just go online, watch a few YouTube videos, and you can make a basic game and jump on it. And you can
what?
imagine
yeah.
people in
Sorry.
what's
Oh,
let's just talk about
yeah,
today. How's your day? Like,
signal is
how
bad.
do you spend a day? What kind of day was it today for you?
Today, lots of sleep. Okay, this lockdown thing has just ruined a lot of things. I feel lazy a lot, but for the most part, because I usually work at night, so from 23 to like 04,
When
I work.
anytime
If
I'm talking to a developer, like I'm even sure the next videos if someone says they're in IT, anything in IT, chances are they work at night. So what time do you get to sleep?
I don't know. Usually like 04.
04
It's
to
just something about working at night that makes things better. Yeah, 04. Then I wake up around 9, 10.
That's still
Yeah.
favorable to start the day. Like what you were saying something like what makes you feel like it's better?
Yeah, there's just
Nice
something
with
about the night that just that just makes you feel like I can do some stuff.
Pretty soon people start calling IT people vampires. How do you
You know?
think working is better at night?
We're a few steps away from getting there.
All right, so from that point, like
Muka,
yeah,
you're saying?
yeah.
Sorry,
Oh no, I was just saying nowadays it's easier for anyone to pick it up. So like you get a YouTube video and you already start developing, and then you consider other countries. You know, the like opportunities for work in Zambia. I'll just use Zambia as an example. It's difficult in Zambia. Even when you have a job, you're half of the time thinking about the possibility of losing that job. But outside,
True.
I'm not saying it's easy outside, but to some degree, I would say it is. I'll have my other reasons elsewhere. But then you find this guy can actually spare maybe 8 hours in a day. And for you in that 8 hours, you're supposed to be sleeping. But he will be there YouTubing this and this. And also he would have, I won't give this one as a direct excuse, because we also have access to people who are skilled in these things. Like you can actually chat with some communities in Zambia that deal with development and stuff like that. But then where you expect a lot of the experts, like the top tier people, for us to reach those people it's hard. And just connecting again to success stories, you don't really have the drive to say, okay, this 8 hours, I know I'm tired, I'm exhausted. What's up, Baba?
Presentation.
That's how stupid I feel.
Do I have any cards here?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I just think it's easier relatively.
Yeah. What did I miss?
Yeah. So when you guys were offline, we just talked about him, like how he, like today. Hello, can you hear me? D-Man. D-Man.
I can hear you, man.
Okay. Moses.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So I was just talked about I asked him a few questions while you guys were both offline. I just asked him how his day was today, which would give us a slight picture of how he works on the daily. He said he works from 22 hours to 0.056, somewhere there, isn't it? Yeah, 23 to 05, and sometimes he sleeps at 4 to 9:30, relatively. So I was like, all IT people tend to do this. You work at night, and I asked him why it's preferable to work at night. He's not sure, and I'm just thinking we're vampires. So, yeah. Then
You're no creature. That's disturbance at night.
The only explanation.
Actually, I'm getting ideas of owls.
There's less disturbance.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
Though for me, it's always quiet here. Feels like I'm in a monastery. Yeah. Then Moses also asked about what were you asking again?
You were talking about revenue streams are going down on Steam
and like it's becoming clustered out there. Like there are so many games being developed on the daily. It's hard now.
Bandwidth is pathetic here. Let me.
Low.
So let's start on the discussion.
Yeah, because we're talking about the market being clustered and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You were explaining why and you're giving reasons.
Yeah, it's just that there are so many games being made now, and out of all of them, so far only 4 Zambians are competing, according to this article. So that should tell you we're running out of time if we're intending to join this field. Yeah. Tumelo is very busy.
I don't even know where we're at.
Huh? All right, so
We're talking about how.
Sorry?
We're talking about how. Damn it. There's like an echo in here, man.
Yeah.
Get this one.
Just go ahead. I think it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying, are you talking about how platforms like Steam are clustered?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you have in the game notice if you upload it there.
Yeah.
Because now if you're going to use those same platforms, you actually need a social gathering, like promote it and stuff. So half of the time now, if you do not have a good social media platform, I'm being slow with it, then your game won't really have much traction. Unless you use those game publishers and so on. Then Zambia itself.
Yeah, but isn't Epic?
Oh, Epic
Isn't Epic doing something now?
Epic are my people. I really want to get on that platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're now allowing indie
So have we talked about how?
Sorry?
Have we talked about how Mwaaba got started?
Roughly. Like
okay.
We did.
Oh, you weren't there.
Born in a
during that
manger.
period. Oh. Okay, but okay, Mwaaba, like I do get how you got into prototyping, right? But before that, like what were you doing and when did you actually start the prototyping, and before that, what were you doing and so on?
Okay, so here's the basics. Here's how it all went down. So I used to make like prototypes of games. Like if I had an idea, just try to see. I didn't know they were called prototypes at that time. So I just used to like make ideas of templates that I used to find on the internet. I used to use different engines until I came across Unity, which was pretty dope. Then one day I decided, let me make a small horror game. Like I called it Mr. Ripley. I was like, oh, let me make this game called Mr. Ripley. It's basically going to be like Slenderman, but it's going to be a ripoff. Like it's going to be based in Zambia. This guy is going to receive a letter from his uncle, and he has to go look for his uncle in the forest. So I told one of my friends about this, and he was like, "Yo, have you heard about Alice Lenshina though?" I was like, "No, who's that?" And he was like, "Oh, this is this really cool story in Zambian history and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty dope." And he was like, "You should try to make a game centered on that." So that's where the whole idea came up. Then from there, I entered in the Digital Lab Africa competition, where you have to pitch your game. So at that time, the Project Lumpa was practically, the demo was almost done. So we submitted it, and then we won. And that's kind of where things opened up. Like, they invited us to this the Paris Games Connection, and from there we kind of learned how the game industry works. It's actually very stressful because there's like a lot of people looking for opportunities and publishers and stuff. So, for me, I didn't really know anything at that time. I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? So much stuff happening.
The boy from the village.
That's my panic voice.
City people.
From the village, the big city, like, so.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So we kind of attended like a lot of free conferences and met like a lot of people, and there were several people who were like willing to help because they kind of heard, oh, it's an African game. Like everyone was shocked, which made it even more shocking for me because I thought like this stuff happens on the daily. But apparently, like they wanted, like France is trying to invest heavily in African developers, so that's why they put out these initiatives to kind of fund upcoming developers. So for me, that was like where it all started. Like from that was the point that
Do you
decided
think
everything.
the perspective is still open to say Africa is still being sought out for game development and such projects?
Yeah, they are. I mean, it is, but they want unique ideas. That's the difference. Like, they don't just want any just because he's a developer from Africa. So yeah, let's support him. They want something that is going to resonate with the local audience, and I think for me, because during the Digital Lab competition, they saw how many people were interested in the whole story of Alice Linshina, and they were like, "Oh, who is this Alice Linshina woman? Maybe this story must be worth pursuing." So that's kind of what made them interested in the whole project. So it's about having projects that are different, that are unique, that they've never seen before. Different stories. We don't want stories about space and all these things that we've played a million times. So they want different settings and yeah, stuff, things and stuff and stuff and things.
Pun intended. Space. Oh yeah, shots fired.
Oh no!
Okay,
no,
so
no,
if
no.
it's
But you see, I try to tie my game with some historical figure as well.
But dude, like that's a pretty dope concept. Like
I shelved it, but yeah, I'm still working on it in bits, I guess. Can you hear me?
In phases.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Moses is on who's muted.
Yeah, man. It's just a lot that's been going on. So, like when you get into game development, there's like rabbit holes that you sort of like sideswipe into. So maybe you start to do particle systems, right? And you're like, oh, Unity just shows me how to use particle systems, but I'd like to know how to like implement particle systems, like create them from scratch. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna put this game on the site. I'm gonna get into like working on building particle systems, like learning the math and like the low level side. Yeah. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know if you share the same sentiment in that regard.
Yeah. Happens a lot.
Yeah, so that happens a lot. And then you figure out that you get better at doing that. And then you realize that the particle system in your game was kind of weak and you could sort of like hack into it and make it sound better.
Yeah.
Oh, not sound better. Sound better. That's what
look better.
That's my experience. You could make it look better visually and aesthetically. And then by the time you get back to your game, upgrades have been made to like the Unity engine, whatever engine you're using. It's like
exactly.
You're like, oh, that's another 2 years.
Can't use this anymore.
It's deprecated. I was like, what? I just spent like 6 months learning about the system, and now you're telling me, oh, there's a new version out. So it's like, so I think that's what's been happening to me, and then and work and whatnot. So but it's cool, man. It's I was going to talk about music as well. Tell us more about that, man.
About my rapping skills? No.
Yes, sir. Drop some bars, dude.
I started in, I think 2011 was a year for me to do a lot of things. So I kind of heard Skrillex's, it had to be Skrillex. There's a song he did called First of the Year Equinox. And it was so confusing because it was like I didn't know what genre it was. Like, is this metal rock? What is this? Like I was scared at some point. So so from that moment I was like, I want to learn how to make this sound. There's a sound that he created in the song. was like a yeah sound. So I was like, how do I create this sound? It was kind of ridiculous, like how to make a yeah sound. I used to YouTube those videos, how to make a yeah sound. So I got Ableton, and I started I started learning how to make a yeah sound. So from there, I kind of started building around that, and when I realized, okay, I finally learned how to make the yeah sound, and I started making music around that, and then it kind of evolved into like more EDM centric. Because at first I used to make a lot of dubstep, like the heavy dubstep stuff, the kind of metal rock dubstep stuff. But then one day I realized this is noise. Like it was, like it
Sounds
wasn't really
familiar.
something.
Essentially it is. It's white noise.
It wasn't really something that I would sit down and listen to myself, because it wasn't as good as the dubstep that's out there. Like I was trying to make this hybrid dubstep, but it just came out as extremely noisy and distorted, because I didn't know about mixing and mastering and all that stuff. So I started focusing on making progressive house music and these mainstream kind of tracks. And yeah, from there I met Sebastian Dutch. He was also trying to pioneer EDM in Zambia. So we made this group called the Bear Gang. Yeah, so we had like a collective of EDM producers just putting out music every Monday. And it was really dope. Like I learned a lot, I learned how to work with vocals, how to work with other producers, and DJ'd for like 3 weeks, got tired, stopped. Then from there, it's just been trying to find my own sound.
The Bear Gang.
Some Kalindula, EDM.
Oh, you've done that as well?
Oh, no. I'm trying
that would
that.
be cool.
I would really be interested in hearing that.
Do it, man. That would be so innovative. Have you played gigs? Sorry, I think I missed that part. I think I heard you say something about DJing at gigs. Was it gigs or like parties?
Yeah. Gigs. Like we used to, because the Bear Gang was basically focused on getting EDM producers like play EDM at gigs. Because like in Zambia, at the time, it was only like the music that's famous, So if there was an EDM track, it'd be like, oh, Avicii. Yeah, we all know Avicii. Not like the underground stuff. Yeah. So that's the kind of EDM we used to play. And
Nice. Yeah, I remember like being so like averse towards like house and like EDM style music, but I think I had a soft spot for like South African house music.
One song specifically.
One song changed my life, man, and a movie as well. Have you seen that Zac Efron movie where he's like a DJ and whatnot? I forget what the movie is called. But it's like Zac Efron.
We're gonna be friends
in it.
Yeah, it was a really dope movie.
Something like that. Yeah, when I watched that movie, it like changed my life, and I was like, damn, this like there's like a heavy story behind like even EDM DJs. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Let me get into this kind of stuff as well. Yeah, it was a pretty good movie. It was pretty good. I was skeptical about it at first. My brother was like, dude, you're gonna like this movie. I was like, dude, EDM? And then dude, like, I do have a soft spot for EDM as well. I love it. I love electronic music now a lot. Yeah, it's like it's looked at as something that's like pretty generic, but once you get into like the nitty gritty parts of it, like just behind the scenes, like soundscapes and elements that go into like making EDM music, like you start to appreciate it more, man. Yeah.
True. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
So like, how when did you start your music? Like, how long have you been doing it?
Probably like 5 years, or 2016. 5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
2016.
2015 was when I started. 2016, I released my first EP, which was called Project Utopia. I don't know about me and project and putting projects in front of things, but makes it sound official. So that was my first EP. Then from there, I just started like collaborating with with other producers and doing remixes. Like that was my thing. That's how I learned fast. I started doing a lot of remixes for popular tracks. Hey,
How are you doing that? Like resampling and stuff? I actually have difficulty with that stuff. Like,
yeah, there's a site called Skill Music where they kind of host competitions to do remixes. So they give you like free vocals and stems, and you
ah,
just make whatever you want. Yeah, so I started participating a lot in those remix competitions. Didn't win any, but I learned a lot.
so it takes just to jump into something to actually get somewhere, other than procrastinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. What else? What's like the plan now? I'm sure you have Project Lumpa, and in regards to music, is music like on hold, or you're actually
Mm.
actively
It's
working on stuff right now?
yeah. It's still there. It's still there. I'm actually planning on making like a not really a band, but like a duo kind of situation. You know, like Swedish House Mafia. Because I have a friend of mine who's a producer, and we're kind of like, let's just like make a duo and make music.
Yeah.
So that's
The
that's a
Daft Punk of Zambia.
that's just punk of Zambia.
But I would like
Yeah,
to hear
man.
that.
Yeah,
That would be
I've
awesome.
been I've
Like,
been I've been watching a lot of Kashmir. Do you know Kashmir?
Yeah, yeah.
Kashmir's tutorial and how he kind of infused his Indian heritage into EDM. So I want to try that stuff.
How's the spelling again? It's
But
K
yeah,
H. How is the spelling again?
KSHMR.
Yeah. I didn't know it was
Yeah.
Indian until I saw a
Calendula
video
thing can
again.
work out, man.
Calendula.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
man.
That would
yeah.
Could totally work out. It would be a native sound, and it would be pioneered by you. That would be cool.
That would be dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like for Project Lumpa,
Yeah,
like where you are right now, like what would you say changed from from your prototype, like the prototype and the
yeah.
presentation to the presentation being accepted? Like what changed? Team wise,
Um.
technology wise, and so on.
Yeah. Oops. Can we pause?
I'm asking that because of your music. I'll get to the next part.
Yeah. I mean, can we pause the? I've got that message, that Airtel message.
Yikes. All right.
Yeah. Let me just purchase.
Let's see. Pausing.
So what's changed mostly is because at first Project Lumpa was if you see my digital lab pitch, it was a generic first person horror game. So what got most people interested in it was the story.
Yeah.
And then when I started attending most of these industry events, I realized that that a lot of Unity developers who make these games, like there are hundreds of, they call them walking simulators. So there was like nothing really special about it, aside from the fact that it's Zambian.
Yeah.
So when I played a lot of these other games released by Unity, I realized that there's actually more that could be done, and we wouldn't want to release a game like this that really is just the same as every other Unity horror game. And immediately people play, this is a Unity horror game, or this is, so that's how we kind of started trying to build, trying to do different things, build a team with Mello there. Yeah.
I'm not going to act like I'm part of the
know.
team right now. Yeah, just some dude called Mello. Yeah.
Yeah, some dude called Mello. And then I approached Eddie to help with the project management, because I feel like that's one thing that I didn't really know how to to manage my project, because I think my ADD
very
was
important.
terrible. I was just jumping
Yeah.
from things. Yeah. So that's where we got Eddie, and then yeah, and we found we're looking for like a 3D developer. 3 of them left and went to make their own games. No shade. Do your
Hopefully
thing.
their games don't come out like Project Loompa though.
You know, the thing is,
Yeah.
the thing with such a project, I doubt if someone can actually copy, because it's the story. Who's going to copy this story? Like, it's clear. If it's going to be a game, to be too obvious.
Yeah.
No, it's about the aesthetics as
Same
well.
story, different
You
names.
might find that they
the
get
aesthetics.
an element that is very cardinal to the project itself. So
I'm sure.
it defeats the whole purpose of releasing that type of game at the end of the day. So it depends on what you have done, you guys, to what Eddie has done to protect the
That's what
project.
I wanted to ask. Like,
So if, for instance, if you guys had an agreement saying
NDAs.
if you leave the project, you cannot develop another project in the time frame that
Similar to
before our release. So that would be like you protecting yourselves from, because unknowingly somebody can just develop a game thinking that, oh, this is a unique idea, but it's your idea.
Yeah.
Even though the dude didn't even intend to actually steal your ideas. So yeah, I don't know. In terms of, you've mentioned the team you've created in terms of patents and who do you really go to for such projects?
Yeah, because it really isn't an industry in Zambia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Parkrat to kind of secure the name and the story and everything. But the problem was Parkrat didn't really know what game development is, which was shocking. So they put us under something, some strange category, and I'm still shocked by that. But yeah, but yeah,
Was it far off?
What?
Was it far off, like from software development?
It was
What?
It was. I'm trying to remember it, but
Agriculture.
I'll probably ask Eddie because he remembers.
Maybe something relating
but
to
it
art.
was.
Oh yeah.
It was yeah, kind of, yeah, but it
So
was hilarious.
one thing I would think,
So we did that.
They would maybe say crafts.
Crafts.
Craft.
Well, it's Zambia. It's nice.
Metalwork. Like totally off.
Well, if they say engineering, then
Engineering could work.
Well,
Engineering could work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That would make more
But
sense.
what other
we
steps?
protected it.
What other steps did you take? Like, that one kind of protects the identity of the game, but in terms of, like, Moses had mentioned aesthetics. How did you protect, like, the design, the concept, the visual side of things, and maybe even the sound?
No, but
I
think the patent covers that, right? Because it's a name.
covers everything. Related under the project.
Okay, so because here's where I feel it's a bit complicated. Like, okay, the concept art was already given.
Mm-hmm.
The concept art. Yeah, because imagine, like, the three 3D designers end up, like, using the same assets elsewhere. Would it be covered in the patent?
I think it would, but lucky enough, the time that they left, we didn't really show them most of the concept art. Like, when we started, it was basically we started with talking about the idea. This is how the game is going to be, and we're like, so these are the assets we'll probably need first. Are you in? Yes, I'm in. I'm ready to do this. Okay. 2 weeks later, so we didn't really reach the point to where, like, the project was shared with these people, with these guys. So we're safe on that front.
Tumelo had mentioned earlier, like, what is it? Like the project in itself. I've actually lost. Whoever has a question, I'll try to remember
Oh
that
yeah.
question.
Why'd you give us your train of thought today?
Sorry? It's
Give us
I
your
don't know.
train of thought.
I'm exhausted. I'm like exhausted.
Relatable, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, Moses.
Eddie.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I was going to ask about like what Luca mentioned. Uh, since Parker doesn't really know what's involved with the industry itself, so I'm wondering if that patent really protects the aesthetics as well, the everything about the game actually. If, for instance, you present a dispute to them saying, "Oh, this person used our thing," but them not understanding the whole aspect of game development and everything, them not really categorizing you in a proper manner, they would not. I don't think they would. I don't know. It's
They
just
wouldn't really
me.
protect the project.
Yeah, they wouldn't really do that. I mean,
Okay, before you answer that, I think just to connect, when you did the patenting, did they give you a structure of what you could protect, like how you're supposed to present it and stuff? Or did you have full control of like what you wanted to protect, like you just provided it?
Yeah, they provided us a structure. They said there was something about everything related to the name Project Lumpa will be under. This is the bad side because I didn't read everything.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's where Eddie
they
comes
said
in.
that's where Eddie comes in. Yeah, I would have to ask him.
Yep.
All right, because
Yeah,
I think
definitely have to ask him.
if they provided you the structure and at the very beginning, you already know they do not even know what game development is. I think it would be very important to know exactly what is protected underneath. I think I don't know how I can say that because the way Moses has
That's
just
true.
presented that, I'm actually getting concerned for other creative works because there are a lot of innovations that have been done in these recent years. Tumero had mentioned one. Was it the guy who invented the car? Who put together a car? What was that again?
There's a guy who built a car from scratch, and that was it.
From Chipata, right?
What?
Yeah, a Zambian guy.
I think the government
Okay, I heard about
just gave him like $5,000, and that was it, man. What? So what
Real?
happens now? Yeah,
5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah, that was it, man.
Yeah,
Probably.
because now I would wonder like, how many projects are we going to lose? Because as youth, at least for us,
No,
we
Yeah.
would, if we started the project, like we actually
yeah,
worked with it, we would push it to its very end, like to ensure that it actually becomes something worth looking at. It's a very sensitive topic, I think. Something that has
yeah.
to be answered.
It really is. But though, look at this. Look at it this way. Uh, Credos has taken this uh, game to Parker. Now they understand what it is involved. I'm sure they have done their research now that it's the Project Lumpa is there. So it's looking out for it's him pioneering that patent and protection for other game developers as well. So it works.
I think another thing is
Yeah.
internal protection as well. So Eddie handles the project management, is it?
Yeah.
Does that include internal documentation for protection, like the documents Moses had mentioned earlier?
Yeah. It does.
Are they properly documented? Like, do you think they're very essential, especially for new people who might jump into game development like you? Would you think, like, on their own before they can even be reached by people like the Digital Lab? do they need to prepare all of this? Like, how crucial do you think it is? Is it enough just to patent it?
Okay, like the reason why Project Lumpa is patented is because it's it's big, and it's also kind of controversial because of the whole Lumpa name. So the reason we did that was we weren't receiving any death threats, by the way. we were. The Lumpa Church kind of thought that we were trying to insult them by making a game that puts them in a bad picture. So yeah, we just did that to protect the game and to ensure that this has nothing to do with you guys. Like, there's nothing to do with the Lumpa Church. We're not trying to put you in a bad light or insult your church. So that's the first reason. That's the main reason why we did that. So most games, most indie games don't really need that stuff, especially if they're innovative, different. They don't really need that when you're starting out, like, because it's a lot of work. Unless you're sure, like, you're trying to push this project, take it further than just something that's going to be downloaded on the internet and played for free. So so if you, like, for an example, Alistair's Star Scooter, like, that's something that he should probably patent, right? Because it's a story that kind of borrows from another story, but it's unique in its own way. So if he protects that, to ensure, if he needs to protect it to ensure that people won't say, yo, you just borrowed this from this other game, and he won't have any proof to say that this is an original idea and all that stuff, because the documentation isn't there. So I hope you get my point.
Okay, roughly, I would guess that someone who's starting up, it shouldn't really be much of a concern. Roughly, like, generally, not that.
But here's what I think. I think it is very important to like, even if you're independent, because a lot is put into working on a project. For instance,
I'll
if you're
give you an example, Moses, like what you're just saying.
Yeah.
I think starting last year. Yeah. How many of you have seen Star Trek Discovery, that series?
I think you tried to give me that.
Okay. It's a space thing, like spaceships and stuff like that. So they made this series, and almost all the concepts are said to have been copied from this developer, a game developer called Anas Abdin, an Egyptian guy. So for him, all he did was the usual thing. You're an indie developer, so you start documenting it on your website. You share it with a few people in chats and stuff like that. You share some screenshots and stuff. These guys behind the series are said to have found this game, copied the concepts. A lot of it is reflected in the series. The characters are one very important aspect of that season 1, and it's been in the court for a while. This article I'm looking at, February 19th, 2020. They're still running a GoFundMe for him, and it's been running for more than a year, I think. So it's a unique project.
No, but yeah, you see such disputes. It's key to, especially if you're planning for your project to be monetized and everything. You need to protect yourself from the get-go. You need to invest in that particular. So you need to protect yourself in a way that no one else would say, oh, this is mine. Because if a giant like the guys who produced Star Trek, they can easily just walk over you guys, because you're starting out. And so I would advise, get the patent, make sure you have every necessary documentation. pertaining to the laws of the land of doing business and stuff like that. So
Because
and make sure it is international as well. So
the
that
problem is half of the
affected
time we
all
think
around.
when I'm just starting up, this project won't go far. But look where Project Lumpa is now. You know, you did not really have a clear picture that these guys would actually accept your project. You're among them and they're talking about game publishers. You have no idea what's going to happen next. All of a sudden, it's become a big thing, and it's either going to be in your hands or in the hands of other people who see the value in it. So I actually agree with Moses. Even if it's a small project, you just have to say.
But like going back to that, is that like something that you sort of like hold in high regard, like just keeping that essence, that heritage of like the cultural tie-ins of the game? You know, like I'm not sure if you saw that game that was developed by Martin. Was it Martin or Michael Kalimukwa? I probably butchered his last name. The Save Our Souls game. The one he built it in Unreal Engine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that really awesome, like open world-ish RPG-esque game that he made. For him, this is like spitballing rumors. I'm not sure how true this is, but like I heard that he's not around right now. I think he left for China, and then when he went to China, this game development company offered like a huge sum of money, and they were like, "We want to buy your game," and it's like, sure. So to them. So do you push yourself in that kind of situation as well, or maybe you're more of the guy that's trying to like preserve that heritage and like that cultural variable of the game? Like if someone offered you, like if EA came to you right now, or Ninja Theory, like, yo,
$500,000 US dollars,
$500,000.
40%, 10% of the project's earnings.
Yeah, would you do that, or?
Nah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't, because I'm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot considering what's happening in this world. But it's a very like we have a plan for this whole project, like the whole trilogy of it. So to just let it go, or especially to EA, but no, I wouldn't.
It's a lot of money.
Deal.
Yeah, but so you hold it near and dear to your heart in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. And then when it comes to like games as well, because earlier I think you talked about the game being stale in a way, for lack of better terms. When you are playing games, I know that you probably have time for everything when it comes to games. Like you probably play games for the challenge, or just to like have fun at the time. You know, you could play FIFA. From FIFA, you could move to like this really challenging RPG puzzle-esque game, whatever. But like when you are looking at developing a game like Lumpa, are you focused on like a core mechanic? I'm gonna act like I don't even know the answer to this, but yeah, this is for the audience. So are you focused on like a core mechanic of the game, or are you just trying to make it as fun as you possibly can for the mainstream audience out there?
Focusing on a core mechanic because I think that's what distinguishes most horror games. Like if you've played Outlast, the core mechanic was the camera.
The camera, yeah.
Resident Evil, yeah, all that stuff. So for us, it's like we're still trying to figure out like new mechanics, but to make it more psychological, got like I don't know if I should spoil it. I won't spoil this, but we've got like core mechanics that that do that. That will kind of, because I think that's pretty much what makes people go back to games, especially like adventure games and all that stuff, is that they have to be different. There's something that draws them towards that game. God of War and Devil May Cry. There's a reason why people play this and don't play this. So we have core mechanics which we still haven't, which is they're going to be there when like we're beta testing, to see how people respond to them. Hoping if they like them, then yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, talking about mechanics and how people would react to the actual game and everything. And how about aesthetics? Are you basing it strictly on the? Is it Mukushi where the Lumpa Church was, or something? Are you specifically like
Yeah.
modding the aesthetics based on that town, the current aesthetics now, or the 1960s kind of feel, or it's just the new stuff?
Yeah, that's actually a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, it's based on the current Chinsali. So I got some pictures, some still pictures, and I realized it's really hard to like make a Zambian environment like the aesthetics of the clouds and stuff.
Very few pavements.
So just go outside. Yeah, yeah. So it's going to be based on that, and there's some parts of the game where that take place in the 1960s and stuff. So it's going to be mixed. Time travel.
Yeah. And I was reading up on Nintendo's game design model as well, where it's like everything just happens sporadically in a way. Like they come up with like a silly concept, and then they just let the game like naturally tell its story. I wanted to ask in regard to like storytelling. Are you looking for like a very linear storytelling type of game, or do you want to make it as sporadic as you possibly can? Because like you look at a game like Super Mario, right? It's like a freaking Italian plumber who grows when he eats mushrooms. So it's like, and then the game just takes off from there. And he's trying to save a princess from like
it just grows from there. He has to rescue a princess.
Kind of guy, yeah. So it's like, but it's fun, right? Like there's like mystery behind it.
Fun,
it's like you don't even know what the heck is going on, but you're just having fun playing the game. And a bunch of other Nintendo games fall under that design model as well. So just in tandem with that, is that something that you're looking at, or
I'm hoping it's going to be an open world.
We're open world. Okay, because the way the levels are kind of designed is that it's a linear progression, but you can explore. You can explore. So I think that's actually one of the things that has made it a bit of a challenge, because it's like when people play games differently. So like whenever I give like my friend to like test, like, oh, try this level out, and he ends up doing something that breaks the game, and I'm like, why would you do that? So it's hard to like put the whole game into like, do this, don't go there. You break the game if you do that. So so it's more linear. It's a linear game, but with just a bit of exploration, just a bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
And as far as like play testing is concerned, mute your mic. Yeah, sorry. As far as like play testing is concerned, is that something that you're like big on, or are you selective in that regard, or are you looking to be like as open as you possibly can to just get that like constructive criticism from like anyone, from like the AV gamer to like the casual gamer, or are you gonna be selective in that regard, where it's like I only want guys that understand what RPG open world esque horror games are about?
I want like try anyone. Even my dad, probably give him the game. Try this.
Nice.
Because I want to see like I think sometimes you get the best opinions from people who don't play games. Like you get some pretty interesting questions, and kids. What does this do? Kids. I don't know. It's there. So that's what I want to do. Like just
nice.
Make it as open as possible. Yeah.
Awesome. What games are you playing currently?
What games? What?
What games are you playing currently? Yeah.
I play a lot of different games, like random games. So right now I'm playing Realm Royale.
Sure.
Okay.
There's Realm Royale. I got the Halo Reach, the Master
okay.
Chief Collection for some reason. But yeah, I've been playing that from yesterday.
Yeah.
Outlast 2 from time to time. The Suffering Ties That Bind. It's an old horror game. If you haven't played
Yeah.
it, it's pretty dope. Yeah, because I'm like trying to copy some mechanisms from there.
I was gonna ask
Yeah,
about
I think
that.
those are
Yeah.
Reference.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was gonna ask about that as far as like being. Nani? Is everything all right?
There is a war.
Yes, the end of the world. That's making it dramatic. Camera effect and all that.
Oh my god.
We can't hear you.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hello.
These phones with only one charging port.
Wireless charging, man.
Got it.
Get a phone that can like wirelessly charge.
I tried.
Yeah, I was
looking
gonna
for one
ask.
to test it out.
How does that work? Oh, woo! Coming over, man. Yeah. So I wanted to ask, with regards to the games that you've been playing, are you playing for escapism, or you're playing to like get something out of the game? Reference, experiential kind of.
A bit of
thing.
both, because like whenever I feel tired and stuff, I just play like to, just release my mind. That's why I play games like Realm Royale and Apex Legends maybe. I hate that game, but but yeah, most of the time I'm usually playing for reference. For reference. That's why I play a lot of horror games. I want to get the Evil Within, because I think that it's kind of closer to what we're trying to do. Yeah, that's a whole 15 GB. So
manageable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Compared to downloading Just Cause.
Yo. Or Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone is like 100 GB.
I thought GTA 5 was as big as Call of Duty, but not really.
Yeah.
I quit.
Not really.
And it's all I want to play. I only want to play Call of Duty.
Your time will come.
Huh?
You get yours. You get yours. Free time, man. Like I want to finish playing The Witness, the Talos Principle, Braid, and this new game I called the Swapper. They'll all just wait. Oh, and Control as well. You've seen Control, right? Yeah. So there are all these cool games that are just occupying space on my hard drive, waiting to be played. They're like, play me, man, and like
play me. What are you doing?
Work to do. Yeah. But I have to dedicate maybe a Sunday night or something to just play games.
Yeah, just like play the whole night.
Yeah. I think it's important in that regard. Yeah. Especially for someone that is trying to be involved in that field, like it's important to play different games and just like learn
different kinds of games.
You must eat, sleep, gaming.
Sure. not in the African context, which opens up a Pandora's box as well. How do the elders, as far as like your family is concerned, how do they look at that? Maybe your family as well overall. Like, are they so supportive in that regard, or is it like, he wants to make video games? Okay, kind of thing.
It's funny because at first it was like, this guy, he's always at night and making these games, and what is he doing? Like, like you could feel that kind of energy. But then after the digital lab competition, and all those trips that I was invited to,
Yeah.
it just changed to, yeah, he actually doesn't sleep because he works hard, you know, like
Yeah.
the story changed because they saw that there's actually potential, because like a lot of people, a lot of, not even just like older people, but a lot of people just believe that video games, what?
Yeah, they don't understand
no,
this is actually
what are you
like
doing?
an industry. Yeah, there's an industry
Yeah.
behind it that actually like pulls in more money than like the movie industry, for example. You know,
True,
the gaming
yeah.
industry pulls in way more money. So
way more money. So that's what I was saying. You know, if we had more success stories, that would kind of push people to like, yeah, okay, this is something you want to do, so do it. You know.
Yeah. Did you know any game companies that have like opened up in Zambia or Africa? People that are trying to like pioneer and innovate in that regard.
Yeah.
Just the four of you.
Really like
Sorry.
In Zambia,
the guys who made Semblance. Have you played Semblance?
No, Zambia.
Yeah. No, South African. Ben Myers and Kuka. Yeah. So they made this game, and it was like a huge success. It actually inspired more people to like, you know, open up companies and game companies, and they invested so much in the game industry because of the success of Semblance. It was, I think it has like 9.5 on Steam or something. Wait, Steam is 5.
Nice.
Steam's out of anyway, it has like a really huge there's really huge ratings and critical success. So it was like the biggest game to come out of South Africa. So after that, we saw more companies coming out in Kenya. They have the names have gone. Even Madagascar, they have a studio called Gaskar, and they make like pretty cool games. There's this game that about this. It's about this girl who has to protect her village from these thieves who steal their cattle, and it's based on a true story. It's pretty dope.
I've seen that one,
with like AAA graphics, and I was shocked, like, wow. So yeah, they have these studios, like they're pretty small. And Paradise Games, Paradise Games from Cameroon is one of the biggest companies that are
Zambia in the list.
You know, bring out more African gamers. Gaming studios, I mean.
Nice. Okay. That's interesting. I haven't done my homework in that regard. Like I haven't done a lot of surveys as far as that's concerned.
All I had in my mind was South Africa.
Yeah. I knew about Kenya as well.
There's so many. Even Egypt actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
Of course.
Of course.
There's some places where you just ask yourself, is this Africa?
Is this part of us? Are they part of us? Do they know? But yeah.
They
or I'm slacking.
I kept on hearing some sound at my door. I don't know if it's because we're talking about Project Loompa. It just gets
in that regard. Are you super paranoid?
They know that you're so
Are you super paranoid about making the game?
Me?
No, Mwaaba.
What?
Are you super paranoid about making the game?
The echo, I couldn't hear.
Oh, are you super paranoid about making the game?
Do you get paranoia?
I was at first. I was, especially when I got like all these documentaries about Alice Lenshina, and then that random guy just texted me at night saying this is our church and stuff. I got really paranoid. Like I went on a whole Twitter, the Twitter breakdown. I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. But it became chill. Like after we, stopped focusing mostly on Alice Lenshina. So the game is now just different historical stories. Yeah, but at that point it was nah.
So there was a point where you guys were just solely focusing on the story itself and what leads to the whole ordeal and the controversy surrounding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. There are two sides of the story itself. It's quite scary.
Yeah. And the
Many
thing is that
would
both
classify
sides are
it
very
as
extreme. Like the people who support her are like very, passionate about supporting her, and the people who oppose her are very passionate about opposing her. So you can't be in the middle, and that's the problem. Because you'll be attacked by one side. Why are you glorifying this woman?
So what perspective are you
that?
taking as developers in the game?
Sorry?
Like, which side are you taking as developers in the game? Of the game?
I'm just a programmer, man. I don't want to die. Okay, so we don't.
Oh god.
we don't really have a side because I'm like, I'm gonna work with this mechanic. Yeah, cool. That's it. That's
You were
it.
saying,
Oh, sorry, dude. I freaking cut you off. Sorry. Carry on. Yeah, I was saying that it's going to be a story with mentions of Alice Lenshina, but it's not going to be about her. Like, we just have like random pieces of historical facts.
but are they really facts?
She was a woman. They will put that in the game. People be sensitive these days. It's objective truth. Yep. People are too sensitive. Why is there a woman in the game? You find a whole Twitter article about you.
Yeah, it's possible.
Like what? But yeah, so it's now more focused on like, so the basic story, you have to find your dad, but along the way, you find that his disappearance is tied to certain events, which tell certain myths and historical stories. So that's the story.
Is Kuna Girl in this part of those stories?
What?
The Schooner Girl.
You never know, because it's very spoiler. Just adding like stuff, like gotta have stuff.
Because when you say myths, I started thinking of such.
Oh yeah.
No, but that would be cool if they would uncover myths. Let me not say like the actual events that happened. That happened in the 1960s and what really was involved in the quote and unquote count.
Yeah.
Like people actually unveiling that part of the story instead of just blatantly telling them that, oh, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe they should just find some fact about, oh, this is what happened at this stage and everything like that when they find a clue of some sort. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, I get you. You do not want to die. Don't risk it.
Let's find pitchforks and flames outside my house.
Burn him at the stake.
Burn him.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to talk about, man? Any questions for us?
Questions.
Sure, man.
Who killed JFK? Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of JFK,
how are you guys finding this whole lockdown situation? Like, is it working towards your advantage or
individually or as
individually?
Ethos?
Like individually.
I spend practically 90% of my life behind a computer screen, so
same thing.
Yeah, not that different in that regard. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing but yeah, that's just where I'm at. I don't know about the rest of the guys. So.
Nah, for me, it's just regaining my foot in development. It's been a bit tricky getting back over this.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing really has changed because of the habits I've created prior to the COVID-19, and I think the unusual part is just not attending church service, and and yeah, not meeting frequently, not having the podcast itself in in person and stuff there
Yeah.
because you don't really know what is going on really,
True.
and it has maybe traveling as well, like trying to look for maybe business and everything. So
Yeah.
it's been quite a roller coaster.
Tricky.
Yeah, and we're growing beards.
But you
Fantastic.
notice how like how people have become more creative during this lockdown quarantine
Yeah.
period. Yeah.
Like
And
people are now.
for Project Loompa as well, man. Imagine if you integrated a level where it's like a bacterial infection is like within the level, and then you have to like find shelter. Otherwise, if you're exposed to like the outside world, you get infected, and you have to
You
find
have
an
to get
antidote.
locked down.
Right?
That would be dope.
Yeah.
And then you just tell the people that you made that level in 2018, so you're a prophet.
Right. That's gold.
Yeah.
How's it treating you though?
What?
The lockdown. How is it? How is it treating you? Has it restrained you from your normal life, or
Yeah.
it's pretty much still the same in a way?
Pretty much do the same, except I just find myself more. Productivity levels have gone very low, so that's the problem. But it's pretty much the same because I used to work from home anyway. So yeah.
But even as far as like sharing files and that kind of thing, and meeting up for like game development workshops, it's always better in person, eh?
Yeah, it is because like
in person,
you never really know what the person means if you're like constantly communicating via text. It's better.
Yeah.
That's one thing that is actually drawing us back. But yeah.
I think I've been enjoying the hiding behind text thing.
You wanted this to happen, so
no-ish, maybe.
You predicted it. You're talking about it. You've been talking about it.
It wasn't based
5
on
years or so.
It wasn't based on a
But
virus.
we're always having these like philosophical kind of discussions where it's like, the world just needs some kind of a rude awakening that like involves everyone. This one thing has to happen where everyone will realize that we're all like slaves to Mother Nature or the nature of the universe or whatever you believe in that regard. It's like you're not in control. So yeah. What's your take on that anyway? As far as like spirituality is concerned, what are your views in that regard? I don't know if I phrased that question right.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to rephrase it? Yeah. Where do you stand? Where do you stand as far as like your beliefs are concerned? Yeah. In any regard.
In any regard, in terms of like what I believe in, like am I religious or
personally,
you attribute everything you've done to a deity or something.
I am one person who I believe in God. I don't believe in religion. So yeah.
What about your belief in God? Like
I just feel that religion has been corrupt so bad to the point where
you actually like, I don't know, it's just, it's
Like a
such a sad.
man-made.
Yeah.
I was going to say like a
Yeah.
man-made kind of thing.
Yeah. Because you have this, like when I go to church, okay, that's a lie. The last time I went was like 2012, but like you see these people who, like they're acting all perfect and stuff, but then immediately like they leave the church, they start gossiping about, did you see what she was wearing? Did you like what?
That pretentious
That kind of thing that, so religion, every aspect of religion, no. But I do believe that, in the higher being, God exists. And yeah,
Which
pretty
God?
much. That is because
if you're at liberty to talk about this, we don't know, like,
yeah.
He was on a roll.
which God do you believe in?
He was on a roll.
Otherwise we'll kill you. Like, yeah, look, okay, like the core concepts of Christianity, like basically God in heaven sent his son Jesus Christ to die for our sins. Beyond that, it's just like, yeah. So I do believe in a higher being, the Christian God, pretty much.
Okay. I think that's
Cool.
basic.
No, but do
I'm saying that because I'm kind of there as well. So it depends on what you do with it. Like if you just believe, then what, So it's kind of, for me, it feels basic. When I tell people, I still believe in God, I still believe in Jesus Christ, I believe he rose and died. And then they'll be like, okay, and how do you practice your faith? Still thinking about that, honestly, because who I am does things which are good, but in terms of scripture-wise, yeah.
But don't you think that's you need to obey in the actual sense? You need to be devoted. You need to say, if you say I am this person, you need to be this person. If you say I am a Christian, you need to be a devoted Christian.
So it depends on the definition.
You do not have to cherry pick.
So what do you think is the definition of being a Christian?
Of being a Christian, it should be a relationship with you and Christ, and you should be able to get rid of your self-indulgence. It's not about the people around you. It's not about what you hear people say about you. It's about you yourself. Are you right with Christ? Are you right with your Savior?
Mm.
So the question should be, am I born again? Not, are they born again? So it should be solely on you. And you should be adhering to every guideline that the Bible tells you. It's good to fellowship. Iron sharpens iron. You need to be surrounded by people who sharpen your faith.
So Mwaaba, you've heard, like, on what he's saying, the part that I know that is a bit is the fellowship part. What do you think about that? Like, do you agree that you require to be in fellowship to be a Christian?
No, because I do.
I'm so sorry. Is everyone else hearing the volume the same way?
It's kind of going low.
Mwaaba is a bit low.
I'm a bit low. No, maybe because my headset's. Yeah. Let's see. I'll be back.
Okay, let me pause.
All
right. So, like, is fellowship a requirement to be Christian?
That's the part I agree with what Moses said. You know, he said that it's about your personal relationship with with God, and you know, because I do believe that from what I've seen during this whole fellowship, and you know, that most of these people that you're fellowshipping with, you know, they aren't who they portray. You know, when you're in church, like after church, they go out and become other people. So would you really want to be associated with hypocrites? You know, so I think it's about your personal relationship, like Moses said.
Because the concept of fellowship, because he gave one of there's a passage that like to talks about iron sharpening iron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's important to have a personal relationship with God. I mean, that's where it all begins. You have to first be convicted, then accepting Christ as your personal savior, and so on.
Yo, who's going around?
Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then you have now fellowship. Like I'll just say in general, I wanted to find out if you felt like it was a crucial thing to have fellowship as a Christian, because that's something that you've been missing for almost 8 years.
Honestly, no.
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 Okay. Because here's a funny thing.
For instance, let me just don't get me wrong in regards to that you have to, it is required to have the importance of it. For instance, our circle. For me, I consider our circle as some form of fellowship. It is fellowship because we come together in the name of Christ. So we steer ourselves to do good works. We steer ourselves to show love to the next person. We steer ourselves to aspire to be better people in society. So for me, fellowship, that's very important in that you get to understand that you need to find a circle like ours. It might not mean you going to a church, but you need some fellowship. For instance, you attending these game development conferences, you will meet in the name of game development. You share ideas. You share ways of how you can better the landscape, the industry itself. It's the same thing. Treat fellowship as you going to a convention or say a conference of some sort where you get to understand more about this subject, this our Lord and Savior, the person we are following. You get to understand, you get to get different perspectives. And remember, I said it's about your relationship. For instance, if I am encouraged by your efforts to pioneer game development, I'll be encouraged, I'll be strengthened to say, oh, I can be a developer as well. It's the same thing. I can be a Christian because I am seeing this change in my friend, even though no one can be perfect in the world. Even if we steer away from the negative talk and everything, the negative talk is still there. It's going to be there wherever you are, even in our own families. People talk bad about other people. It's not a church, just a church or something. It's
Anyway, in that regard, I kind of think maybe what Moses is getting at is, do you at least even have like one or two friends that maybe from time to time you could sit down with and like just talk about life and your ideals with? Is there like a special person in your life that even it could be a relative, it could be someone as as trivial as like, I'm not say as trivial, but someone that you share a bond with, like say your grandma, for example. Like your grandma sits you down and says, "Oh, but Mwaaba, put God first and whatnot." Like in that regard, she is sharpening you, and you're sort of like trading off from her, or rather from each other, because she's trying to stay in touch with like the modern times and how things are happening, and you're like a part of that world. So I don't know. That's how I understand it. I don't know how you see it.
When you put it like that, I thought you meant specifically from church. Right?
No, I don't know. Maybe that's what Muka meant.
There are a lot of ways it could go, because Moses has actually expanded it in a way that it works for me. Like I'll say in general, fellowship is meant to improve your personal like both of you have been saying that it's meant to improve your personal relationship with God, not just in the way you live, like you do good deeds and so on, but you need reference of the scriptures with people. Like you polish your knowledge of your, like the faith you have in Christ, so that it's even easier to understand certain aspects of our Christian journeys as we live. So one thing I was trying to also like draw differences is, most people who leave the church because of the way they fellowship, like the fellowship, not the way they fellowship, but the fellowship itself, the congregation, the ones who tend to leave that tend to be the ones who are drawn into the church through other people. So when like for me, the time I actually got to accept Christ in my life, the first time was at my baptism. I really took my faith seriously in the Catholic Church. It was very personal to me, and I believed my words. But then the time when I actually felt like I actually understand what it means to be Christian, I actually understand how personal I want my relationship to be with God. At that point, which was about maybe 4 years after I was baptized, at that point, I started seeing the church as a very different thing. And it was because I was introduced into the church with the knowledge that this is the right thing to do. Every Sunday you go to church. That's when now the Bible switch comes on in your mind. And then during the week, maybe you mention God once or twice. You don't really, So that's that type of fellowship where it's almost like it's a third person thing. It's not personal. That when you were in that congregation where you heard gossiping and stuff, if it was very personal to you, that would actually be a family to you. Like Moses said, we have disagreements in family, we have conflicts, but in the end, we're still family. So where you've just been introduced to it and your conviction comes, if you're unlucky, you start seeing these people, I believe in God so much, but these people are just ruining it for me. They're actually showing me that there's some hypocrisy here. That's how people get drawn away from the church specifically. That's what I think. And initially for me, even if I hadn't really joined the church, I actually really what's the desire or long to be in a congregation, because that fellowship is a bit more focused on the word itself. And then now that I understand things at a very personal level, I actually feel like the moment I can settle into a church and actually believe that the pastor is actually giving the right scriptures and not my personal understanding of what is right, but what the scriptures actually say. Because half of the time when I go to these churches, I get elements like the prosperity gospel, which I just deny it completely. I deny it when I see it. I just go like, this is a place where I can be corrupted. But the moment I find a church, even if it's super traditional, even if it's super Pentecostal, as long as I believe the word is reflected in it, even if I don't agree with it, like the word itself, like the points where you just go like, I've been away from from the church and people holding me accountable. And then this pastor is talking about my sin and stuff. I find a church that actually convicts me as much. I'm telling you, I would be in that same congregation, and when I see the same gossiping and chaps being funny in the church, I'll be the loudest. I'll be the one to call them out. I'll be the one to tell them, if you want to believe in God, this has to go, So that's what I feel like the problem is half of the time. People just want to go to church because it is the right thing to do. But if you take it the way Moses is saying, the more crucial thing for me, the more important thing is I have someone I can talk to about my beliefs. I have someone I can do things with that reflect my beliefs, and I do not fall into compromise with these people. That is, for me, that is the perfect fellowship. So I was just trying to see if you
No, but here's the elbow, Muka. You cannot the purpose, like in John 13, I think in 13 and verse 35, it talks about you actually going to church for you to show love for one another. It might not be what it is. The burden is on you who has this knowledge of, oh, you need to show love to your neighbor, you need to show love to your fellow congregant. You need to be there for them, even though they're spewing this negativity towards you. You need to show them that, oh, despite all these things you're doing, I am the one with the love of God in me. And it's not like we're doing right now. We're not forcing anyone, oh, join Christianity. It's the same concept. You need to show.
I think Esther Chungu said the same thing. She was like, it has to make sense to you, and no one forced you to become a Christian. Yes. So in that regard, it's like, yeah. But anyway, just looking at time, would you say it's all love at the end of the day? like in a nutshell. It's all love. It's all love. I mean, if it wasn't for love, Christ wouldn't have died for your sins, right? You wouldn't have died for the sins of a serial killer or a rapist out there, So it's like that like unconditional love, just showing love to everyone at the end of the day. I'm not sure if
that's actually a dangerous. That's actually a dangerous aspect to take too generally, but to accept it for now.
No. I'm not. I'm asking. I'm not saying.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
About love. Do you know? Do you know how it's being misconstrued nowadays? If I want to show love to a homosexual, which is like the biggest controversy now in the church, do you see where I'm going?
Let's hear.
Yeah.
Can I join this call on my drive home?
Moses, you're like what?
No, last thing. Let's see that, then we wrap up.
On love.
Now, what you wanted to talk about?
Okay, it's about the description of love. Nowadays, that's why I'm like, what do you really mean, like the full context of it? Because if you use the word love now, it means a lot of things. But if you say scriptural love, like God's love itself, then I would get it. Because if you say, I need to show love to a rapist, for example, as Christians, we must show love to everybody, right? But show love to a rapist, then that the victim comes to you and goes like, you're showing love to someone who's done bad to me. That's not caring for me as a victim.
But then if you look at it with regards to like Jesus dying for your sins, like when he was on the cross and,
Yeah, that's biblical love now. Because everyone falls under that.
Insulting him and, choosing to crucify him over, was it Barabbas, he was like the legit thief and whatnot, but then they wanted to crucify Jesus, who was innocent in that regard. Then he still said, forgive them, like they do not know what they do or what they're doing. So in that context, you say that's biblical love, right?
Mm-hmm. Like that's the love we're expected to have.
Do you share that sentiment? Oh, okay. But is that the love that we have in today's day and age?
No. The world cannot understand love itself. The world cannot understand the true essence of love. And the only way we can understand it is through Christ.
Yeah, it's like you've put it. It's not about what the other person understands. It's about what you have come to understand yourself. And it is true that you're able to. That's why the Bible uses you bear fruits of some sort through learning, through getting all these nutrients from the knowledge that you get from reading the Bible. Is the way that you will be able to stand out from the rest of the world. It's not the essence of Christianity is not to be of the world. We are not of the world. We are of the kingdom, the promised land, or the kingdom of God, let's say. And you showing love to, for instance, the example Tonelo gave on the cross. Christ forgave the one of the people he was crucified with instantly there and then, but this guy was a real criminal, and you find that Christ said, "Oh, because of your faith, you have been saved." You get the point. So that it's the same benefit of the doubt that we need to give the next neighbor. We need to give even a person who does a bad thing to you. I know if it is hard, but if you come to that realization, it brings joy to you because you're not concerned about what bad thing they did. It's like being concerned about the negativity, but you concentrating on the positive side of things. In anything that you do, you'll find that if you're negative about, oh, I cannot create this, I cannot develop this, you'll not develop it. But if you're positive and, oh, I can actually develop this, you will not be concerned about what is happening.
That's true.
I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, it does. Any last words, Mwaaba?
Yo, play. Okay, no last words.
Oh.
that was like a 360, you know, of the conversation. But it was good. I learned about it. Yeah.
That's the essence. We're supposed to be able to pick from you, like learn something about you apart from what you do, but also know like where you stand, what drives you, you know. And usually it's like easy for us to really see the picture. If you say like for you're a Christian, I mean, it's quite clear and cut. Whereas others have to use very new terminologies that we don't really know, like cosmic energy. Is it? Laws of attraction.
Laws of
and stuff
attraction,
like that.
secret.
Please just not open up Pandora's box.
Yeah.
If you believe. Yeah.
Anyway.
I read a lot of those books, but yeah.
Last 2 words.
We're so grateful to you. Like, this was an awesome conversation. At least it's another topic that's so new. Like, whoever is going to be listening is just going to be like, I should really dig into game development. There is something for me. So it's awesome that we had you on this podcast.
It was awesome to be here, man. I had a great time. Learned a lot of things.
Likewise.
Yeah. Hopefully we can do this in person again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most definitely, man. Yeah.
Would love that.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, dude. So, what are you up to now? Is there anything that you want to plug that people should look forward to?
Mm, hmm. Probably just my my Spotify. Yeah.
Oh, you're working on an
I just
album,
dropped,
music.
EP. Yeah.
Oh,
Album not
EP,
yet.
nice.
Album next year, but right now I'm just dropping EP. Like a short project.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mwaaba,
So yeah.
is your article on African gaming networks open? Like you know about
Yeah.
it? You know about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
I haven't updated it in a while, but yeah, it should be active.
I think it's still interesting to see. So whoever is watching, you can also check out the AfricanGamingNetworks.com or Digital Lab Africa, which is the official site that his project is on. Just search Project Lumpa and you have it.
So
Double.
perfect.
All right, man. Thanks so much. It's been great.
All right, thanks for
Catch you on
having
the
me.
next one, man.
All right, dude.
Peace.
Cheers.